Hana DO. Actually, my topic is to generalize and categorize spatial music across all musical genres, instrumental music, electronic music, and mixed music. For this presentation, I will the term spatialization denotes one of the major trends of contemporary music, because space has become one of the most important musical formats for composition during the 20th century, especially since the invention of amplifiers and speakers at the beginning of the 20th century. The interest for the spatialization, more precious with the spatial music, is growing, especially in the electronic music. Imagine the case of listening of the electronic music. We listen to the sound. That projected into space, and aussi disposition. The sounds become one of the very important parameters of composition. But the concept of sound movement doesn't only to apply to contemporary music. We can or electronic music. We can also observe this concept in many ancient instrumental repertoire. For example, there is Renaissance music that consists of technique imitation. Oh, so I'm sorry, I just it always checking for the other. It's not working. C'est comme ça. Right there. Ah, okay. C'est always okay. Thank you very much. Excuse-moi. Excuse me. In the Renaissance music, certain sound trajectory are presented in a special order to the meaning and audible perception. Par exemple, we can have another recent example, such as the mass sound. Eventually, in the contemporary music, Ligeti, Stockhausen, or Janakis. We can find also something specific or character the special music produced by his musical texture or structure. The phenomenon sound also considered as a specific field that could bring on the specialness of sound itself. In this evolution of special music, the development of technique helps us to realize special sound more sublime and delicate. I think so. The virtual sound space is one of example. So, contemporary music can be figured more innovative and experimental from the notion space. Notion space in the music. Many composers inspired by this new musical material could offer a different perception and a new dimension beyond the traditional parameter. Therefore, space is not anymore an uncertain musical factor. It should be considered as a crucial parameter for contemporary music. However, space is not only a metaphor in the processing of composition. The actual space itself would also be included in the creative process of music. As the biggest example, there is a pioneering work of spatialisation by Edgar Varese, Poème électronique, for example, written for the Philippe Pavillon in 1958 Bruxelles World's Fair. The spatial sound is realized by the movement sound system of 425 speakers in the surface of the Philippe Fabulon. The collaboration concept, creation of this real space and sound or music makes it possible to look at the new concept of composition and listening to the sound beyond the convention. In the meanwhile, space is considered as to be a component of music. A new musical understanding interpretation around the process creation would be possible. From this experimental point of view, we can approach two projects of the young composer who tried the visualization, the collaborative with the real space and sound by different way. First, there is a project Citygram by Tehomba, and second, there is a Nohka project by JSSA. Especially the Nohka project it is presented in the Hana. Hana is a typical traditional architecture Korean in Korea. Let me start first the project Citygram by Baktehom. Excuse me, my English is not very well, so I can't speak just come Korean, just come French. Also, I have to read same time text oral. Excuse me, not very much. This project, Citygram, is the collaboration between many establishment people. Tehomba participated as a faculty and the principal investigator. It was also presented in the residence at IRCAM in 2050 under the title of project Interactive Soundscape Environment. As the large-scale project, it began in 2011. It's now also further developed also. He's described the project in the residence at IRCAM shown on the seat. The draft Citygram was launched to create real-time sounds mapping, analysis, and visualization of spatio-temporal energy. So the main concept is collecting and storing daily life noise occurring naturally in viral space in the city in near time by data derived from the direct sounds, the auditory space map of the city present to us without visual approach. In addition, they create the system for storing sound database occurring continuously in space to finally draw an urban soundscape. It's true, it's not just for creation, it's not just a process of creation, but I think so it suggests something new concept. I'm very interested to offer us to something new concept, produce new concept start from the notion space. His project also is very connecting of the notion space, real space. He want storing, collecting the sounds, noise, such as Google Map, Then it was ancient. It's not very recent. we can observe approach his approach on this project, like such as city map, such as Google Map. It just offer to us certain figure as the map. So, read the research summary and the article written by them, because there are many people participate in this project. It's not just only him. It began in the New York City. It further developed to just read. It's not from me. It's just written by them. I think so. Help you to understand this project. Citygram aims to deliver real-time visualization mapping system focusing on non-occurring energy through scale accurate, non-intrusive, and data-driven interactive digital map. Citygram aims to create a model for visualizing and applying computational technique to produce metric and further. Sorry, I pronunciation just further. I think just read some, because it's very difficult. It's a really big project. Alors, big project, so very difficult to say character. Is connecting. It's not for the composer. It's not for the composition, for the creation. It's just I think so. For the database, analyzing database offer us to new concept, new attitude, listening, considering of listening. Listening. So the sound source from this project cannot be used as directly as metaphor, directly material creation and composition. But they suggest novelty with the concept of interaction between human and technology, also space and sound. This goes beyond the conventional sound and could be applied to several different various fields, business, like Google Map, Google Sound Map, audio maps, etc. I think so. Donc, you can find this image on the public site of Citygram. It's very easy to find, just not on the. The more information on the publicity for Citygram is follow. First, is principal site for Citygram. Et deuxième séquence, c'est such as research for we will move on the second composer who works a very interesting collaboration between music and space, Nohka project. In this project, a traditional type architecture of house Hana right there is Hana exterior. C'est Hana. This image the Hana. A traditional type of house house in Korea, Hana is used to build all of processing creation, from concept to performance. So in this project, the actual space Hana is not only a place to perform, but also the main idea through each creative event. This project is created by a young Korean woman composer, very young, is Shin Ji-soo. It performed in 2012 in different Hana that are located in several cities, for example, Seoul, Jeonju, and Hamyang. She composed the interactive music for outdoor concert in Hana. Particularly, the project aimed to offer an opportunity of experience in Hana to the audience and to evoke their interest about Hana. I think so. First of all, it would be good to understand the several features about Hana. It will bring to us easier access to explore this project. C'est outside Hana, c'est inside Hana. C'est Hana it consists of one floor, a high villa, and constituted from fitting to the outside through gradually different from the gate to the internal configuration. Hana, I think so. Hana represents Korean attitude toward life and nature. It's become a symbol of Korean architecture. I think so. It's better to read just read the text. We can summarize the future are first in harmony with nature and human, and second characterized by openness then communication. Eventually, all of the character of Hana in terms of form and philosophy are included in the creative processing and performance of the Nohka project. This future harmony with nature, openness, and communication brings focus on the ambiguity of boundary of the audience and the creator to the main idea. So a realization came that this form of the event would try to destroy the figure of common concert and also the relationship between a composer, performers, and the audience. However, despite this experimental form, the composer was trying to maintain a careful calculation and the artistic attitude to produce the refined sound. The experience on her childhood living in Hana helps her to express memory and expression of that time with music, nature sound, and the sound human in harmony. So performance style. Entering to the garden Hana, you can find only reserved seat for audience just wandering in Hana. Performers in advance are located in Hana. The pre-installed camera and software program are used to capture their movement, their motion, and clarify the motion of the audience for send the program to produce a database. Performer praise the database which came from the combination of the motion of audience and pre-composed source for instrument. C'est so très difficult, très difficult. So many steps in there in processing composition, I think. So the accidental and instant motion of audience representing special arrangement affect a musical performance itself. Thus you can find a beauty interaction between space and the music. There are no fixed score. There are no kind of experimental music. The process composition performance first, she composed some music, pre-composed source for each instrument. Instrument gomungo. Instrumentalist for this project Nohka 2012. It will be also changed for the others project. But in 2012, with 4 players, toy pianist players for gomungo, Korean traditional string instrument, a violinist, flautist also. The composer, there are pre-composed source for each instrument. Second, the installed camera record the motion of the audience. Third, the information of source combined and they become a database in a software program. First, the database are transmitted to the tablet every 20 seconds. Fifth, performers play them in real time. So just one photo. The camera, install camera capture her motion. It divides small party for capture for quantify their motion. There are some source audio source score for each instrument. As is the photo, the gomungo, a violin, located in advance inside of Hana. Audience sit freely outside, just freely around on the Hana. Music change always like experimental music. It's now to listen some music. Nohka project in the last part. Consequently, the Nohka project would be one of the good musical examples that the actual space is used directly into the creation composing process. I think so. Two collaboration, Nohka project, Citygram is not work of composition general. It's not belong to the field contemporary music. I think it's more belong to experimental music. Just I want to offer the opportunity, the information opportunity. Listen this experimental music. For the conclusion, as such is through the project of young Korean composer introduced previously, we could observe that the sound in their space was able to create a new concept. Space exists not anymore as a visual form. Space can also be audibly accessible in a variety of ways, including the metaphysical concept. It suggests to us the new listening attitude and new sounds with creative new form by many artists as two young Korean composers such as Taehyung Ba and Ji Soo-shin. Thank you for listening carefully. If you have some question, please donate.
Thank you. Yes, so Mrs. Mizuno had to leave, so I will replace her for questions, comments, remarks. Actually, I have a remark. It's not a question, but in this session this afternoon, were scheduled 3 presentations, your presentation on those 2 projects of Soundscape, and then there was another presentation called Soundscape Composition, a connection from the electroacoustic to the reality. So not only that, but the 3rd paper by Wong Dai-wei was a comment on another piece by He Sun-tian, so the composer we heard this morning. But in this case, regarding soundscape composition. So this emphasizes the importance of soundscape in today's music, in the music of today. And as you mentioned, it's not really electroacoustic, but again, the presentation this morning on He Sun-tian, the 4 Dreams by He Sun-tian, was not exactly electroacoustic in the pure sense of the term, but neither is soundscape. Soundscape is much wider and different. So this is a very good example of the extension that we live in the electroacoustic music world. Electroacoustic music has always transformed itself over the years since its foundation in the late 40s. It has invented new forms, adapted to new techniques. In fact, we are going to have more of those new techniques tomorrow. So unfortunately, Per Magnus Lindberg will not be here, but we'll have other presentation of this idea of new forms of electronic and electroacoustic and even electric music. So electric music like He Sun-tian 4 Dreams, or electronic music or soundscape, this is the very big new world in which we use the electroacoustic music, but it loses its definition in many ways. So in this case, I think, thank you very much for presenting those two composers, because they really push the boundaries, they push the limits to new, they invent new sound worlds. In fact, of course, the soundscape is not new in itself. In fact, it goes back to, I would say, Luc Ferrari, presque rien, almost nothing, at the beginning of the 1970s, but of course you could use soundscape before. In fact, the piece by Mayuzumi, the work for XYZ, 1953, uses some real-world sounds in its texture, some gagaku sounds, some real recording of sounds, like Barré's Désert also used machines for recording. So it's not new, but it's new as a genre. In fact, that's the thing, because in Mayuzumi or Barré's it was incorporated in the texture of a piece of music. It was presented as a piece of music. But this, as you showed, is not a piece of music. It's a soundscape that you have to experience directly, and in fact you are part of the soundscape. So in this case, I wanted to thank you for introducing this concept. Questions?
I think so for soundscape and also sounds it's very important work collaboration.
That's true.
All of the programming is not for it's not produced by composer. There are programmer. Always so many people participated in several projects with soundscape. I just want to present this project on a sense general, because it's not me for this project. It's not me to produce this project. I don't know very well detail programming. But I think so. It's also very important to know how programming in the processing composition is better important. I think so. But I can't obtain the source detail. Just
get the information.
Yeah. For a collaboration is very important. I think so. It's the others processing composition. It's not for only personally. It's the example is more and more all together ensemble for something creation.
Yeah,
in the field of music.
Yeah,
I
the
think so.
collaborative aspect is important, but there's another aspect that you showed also, which is that those pieces which we call soundscape, for lack of a better word, have an aesthetical aspect to them. So it's not just a photo of the sort of sonic photo of the world. It's a selection, and there is an aesthetical aspect to this selection, to this soundscape. It was true for Luc Ferrari, for presque rien, for almost nothing, and it's true today also. So even though it's not a piece of music, it's a piece of art, in other words. So there is an aesthetical approach, and this is very clear in those examples. I did not know the Hana piece. It's very interesting because it's something that you inhabit in a way. But there is this aesthetical approach, which is very strong, and yet it's not a piece of music. So it displaces the notion of sound and even music in a way. So this is very, very interesting, and it's not something that we could easily have talked about 5 or 6 years ago. So it's growing very much. So the boundaries are pushed, and the definition of the field is changing very quickly, actually, I think. Yes?
In the 1940s and 50s, I mean, the machine to those highly developed technologies, there's no longer specialty for that.
Yeah.
So maybe creators are moving back to the real thinking of what is musical tone and what is non-musical tone. That is studied by like John Cage philosophies and stuff. So that's what I got from the information. And I saw those people fall from people like Nihon Park and Lukuduwa and on the list, and then they are doing such a, how do you say, very basic things that making music without maybe just using technology without comes on.
And also inventing new instruments. Also, that's part of this development of recreation. As you said, the computer is now such a common tool. It's trivial that we have to do something different. Always looking for new types of sounds and new types of listening too. Because in the hammock, you have the new type of listening. Of course, you have to inhabit that space. And that's something that John Cage did with Busy Circus. You have to move about the space, and in fact, Miss Do is writing her dissertation on spatialization, and spatialization clearly means that you as a listener have a different type of listening depending on where you are in the listening space, obviously. It was very clear. In fact, if I may, I can talk about the piece by Boulez, Répond, 1981. Répond has an orchestra in the center, and then you have the audience around the orchestra, and then behind the audience you have 6 soloists with amplification and computer transformation. Now, I've heard the piece several times in Los Angeles, in France, and every time, depending on where I sit, I have a different perception. In fact, it was played last year, or this year in Paris. This year, was it? Last year in Paris, in the new concert space we have. And I had, every time it's a different piece, depending on where you sit in the space. So yes, of course, we reinvent the listening part. That's true. Any more comments, questions? All right, so we have the concert at 5 o'clock, and it's in the building, black building next door. I'm speaking under the control of Professor Osaka. Right there.
It's called Black Hole.
Black Hole.
Building.
Okay.
Big Mouth is the name of the concert hall.
At 5 o'clock.
It's very easy to find. Enter, and 10 meters
10 meters.
to the left.
Okay, it's not too hard. And tomorrow, we start at 9:30, but we will shift, if you don't mind, we will shift the presentation because, like I said, Per Magnus Lindborg cannot come because the special speakers he wanted to show were not ordered in Singapore, so he will do it next year. So we will start with Gershin Chin. Okay, so at 9:30, is that okay with you? Okay, and then Chao Luo, Guo Chao. Okay, Mrs. Miyazaki is here. No, I haven't seen her. And Mrs. Yasuno, Mr. Yasuno. Nice to meet you. So we will shift everything. It's okay with you? All right. So 9:30 tomorrow, but of course I'll see you tonight at the concert. Thank you very much.